Hello, I'm Andrew Pritchard. Thank you for watching today's Northeast Regional Forecast, brought to you by Nutrient Ag Solutions. So you look at the last 72 hours of precipitation, we did see mostly widespread coverage of about an inch or a half an inch to an inch across the Northeast region, with northern Maine being the only one who missed out here as a slow-moving storm system made its way out of the Corn Belt and across the Northeast region through the end of the weekend. As we take a look at the last 14 days of precipitation, we're missing some data here in part of the Northeast region here, parts of Pennsylvania and New York, but I want to just point out the entire central U.S. here as we begin to shift towards a more typical June pattern, losing where perhaps we looked at this map about 2 weeks ago. This is last 14 days precipitation departure from normal. The entire central and eastern U.S. was almost covered in blue here, where we dealt with this pattern that brought, a multi-state, several-day periods of heavy rain and thunderstorms, widespread severe weather outbreaks, and now shifting back to this more summer-like pattern where we're watching for corridors of precipitation associated with short waves embedded within the broader jet stream flow. We're not talking about big troughs kicking off again, multi-day severe weather outbreaks across the central and eastern U.S. We're talking about this more subtle flow kicking off corridors of heavy rain and thunderstorms, but also corridors of drier weather as we head through the last 2 weeks and into the next week or so. Here's the next 5 days of accumulated precipitation from the National Blended Model, and that does give a nice coverage of the Northeast region here of about an inch or so of precipitation, higher amounts in some areas, lower as well, so maybe about an inch, give or take half an inch across the Northeast region for the next 5 days. As we look further, the next 10 days taking us through June 19th now, again, we're starting to shift to a pattern where we'll be dealing with perhaps some heavier rain as we get into the end of the weekend into early next week. Beginning in the central U.S., that begins to track towards the east across the eastern Corn Belt and eventually into the Northeast region. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. The 15-day GFS ensemble precipitation anomaly forecast, so this takes us all the way through June 26th. It shows that same picture here with significant precipitation possible in the parts of the central U.S., parts of Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, taking that eastward along the Ohio River Valley through the eastern Corn Belt and then up into the Northeast region, again over the next 2 weeks, broadly speaking. Our temperature forecast for the next 5 days, so taking us through June 16th, looking at cooler temperature risks across a big chunk of the central and eastern U.S., and that does include the Northeast region here as we deal with a cooler and less humid air mass, shifting back to a warmer regime the 5 days that follow that, June 16th through June 21st, as we begin to introduce a ridge back into the region and flip back to a more summer-like pattern with possibilities for showers and storms in the region. Here's a look at the jet stream on Tuesday morning. Here is that big trough across the central and eastern U.S. that's keeping us cooler. This here is going to be kicking off a cluster of showers and storms, or a storm system producing clusters of showers and storms that begins to slowly move across the Corn Belt and into the Northeast region towards the back half of the week. We'll look at the radar picture here on Tuesday morning, also seeing some shower activity move across the region. This will bring some rain to parts of Maine that hasn't missed out here over the last 72 hours. This again brought rain to parts of the eastern Corn Belt Sunday and Monday, and now as it makes its way out Tuesday and then perhaps into Wednesday, bringing rain to the Northeast region. Here's the midweek storm system for parts of the Corn Belt that'll begin to track into our area towards the back half of the week. We'll look at the high-resolution NAM model that will kind of show that picture here as this first storm system moves out here late in the day on Tuesday. Then this storm system here bringing scattered showers and storms to the Corn Belt during the afternoon and evening on Tuesday. Into Wednesday morning now, dry across the Northeast region for your Wednesday. And then as we head into Wednesday night, into Thursday morning, this is going to be midnight on Thursday, seeing this rain activity make its way into parts of Pennsylvania and areas south and east from there. And then as the sun rises on Thursday morning, seeing that rain falling across not just Pennsylvania, but parts of New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Jersey. And then by the time we move into Thursday afternoon, seeing that rain make its way all the way across parts of New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine, with lingering shower and storm activity possible on the backside, more scattered or isolated in nature as we get into Thursday evening across much of the Northeast region. Now, if you remember this picture, this is precipitable water. It's a way of measuring the moisture content within the atmosphere, and we look for these higher values here, the yellows, the reds, and the purples that we see along the Gulf of Mexico, or along the Gulf of Mexico and along the Atlantic coast here. I got tripped up on my words there. I need another cup of coffee this Tuesday morning. where we had a high pressure over the southeast region that was pumping Gulf of Mexico moisture into the central U.S. That was keeping it very active there with those corridors, very heavy rain, the severe weather outbreaks, some of that impacting the northeast region as well. We've got almost the opposite picture now. As I go ahead and loop this now, instead of pumping moisture in from the Gulf of Mexico, we're pumping drier air in from Canada. So it's a complete opposite picture here, where we've got this more subtle jet streams set up here across the region here mid to late week, and then we've got a drier air mass that kind of struggles with the development of robust thunderstorms and severe weather. So opportunities for some precipitation here, certainly Wednesday and Thursday as this storm system makes its way through the northeast region. There you see it there, but another reinforcing shot of drier and cooler air coming in on the backside. You see it right here. That'll eventually move into the northeast region, and then that's going to keep things a little bit on the drier side until we get into the later part of the weekend. Total precipitation forecast here. You can watch this storm system tracking eastward toward the northeast region. This, of course, is what falls on Wednesday and Thursday, but here we see now getting into Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon, bringing that precipitation in. We'll go ahead and we'll zip ahead to Thursday. Now you can watch this storm system making its way in early Thursday morning into Thursday afternoon with corridors, streaks there of around 1 inch to 1.5 inches. That's where the heavier precipitation will fall in these narrow corridors. Everyone else seeing light and scattered amounts here of maybe about 1/2 inch or less. So we look a little bit further. We'll talk about the severe weather risks real quick here. No risk across the northeast region for your day Tuesday or Wednesday, as we head into the day on Thursday, introducing a marginal risk for a couple isolated stronger storms across parts of mostly western and central Pennsylvania. So where we headed here is this big trough that we've been watching. This is the wave that is responsible for the rain that's falling now. Here is our wave that is responsible for the rain that will fall on Thursday. We'll go ahead and we'll click through time here, watching that swing through the region here. Let me go ahead and let this start over. It's taken away my scroller bar. So here we are Wednesday afternoon, dry across the northeast region. That begins to change as we head into Thursday afternoon. Again, here comes this trough pushing into the region. Now we can go ahead and we'll scroll a little bit further ahead, getting into the day on Friday, seeing that storm system linger with scattered showers and maybe a thunderstorm possible across the northeast region for your Friday afternoon as this begins to make its way out of the area. And then we begin to watch a pattern where we get into almost daily chances for showers and storms as we bring a little bit more moisture back into the area, start dealing with this more zonal flow where we're watching for embedded shortwaves kicking off rounds of showers and storms anywhere from the central U.S. into the eastern U.S. So we'll head through Sunday afternoon now and then into Sunday night, dealing with scattered showers and storms across the northeast region. Total precipitation side by side, the European model on the left, the GFS model on the right, tell a similar story across the northeast region. This takes us all the way through Sunday evening, 7 p.m. on Sunday evening. And you see the theme there, about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of precipitation, maybe some narrow corridors with higher amounts, and then some corridors with lesser amounts of about 1/2 inch or less as well. So kind of a wide range there, anywhere from about 1/2 inch to maybe 1.5 inches to 2 inches in the higher areas, but pretty uniform coverage of at least some precipitation across the northeast region over the next 5 days. The National Blended Model tells the story well also. I'm going to go ahead and we'll just click through time with this one. Here we see the Tuesday, precipitation making its way out of the region. You can begin to watch the late week storm system taking shape now over the Corn Belt. We're at 1 a.m. on Thursday right now, still watching this approaching storm system. And then as we get into Thursday afternoon, Friday now, Saturday, and now Sunday, this is when we really start to watch this corridor from the central U.S., the mid-Mississippi Valley, along the Ohio River Valley and into the northeast region for, again, hard to predict in advance when and where exactly each of the storm systems or each of the storm clusters will develop, but a pattern that supports the almost daily generation of at least a couple of scattered areas of showers and storms across the region. Take this all the way into Thursday of next week. So looking at the next 10 days of precipitation here, talking about pockets of maybe 3 to 4 inches of rain from anywhere, again, from the Mississippi Valley into the Ohio River Valley and then into the northeast region. We'll let it play one more time since I jumped off of there for you. High temperatures, just to finish this out, we are cooler for the day on Tuesday, anywhere from the 50s into the mid-70s across the south. Your Wednesday high temperature is a little bit more uniform, mostly looking at lower to mid-70s across the northeast region. Cooler as rain and clouds from that next storm system moves in on Thursday with pockets of 50s and 60s with 70s off to the south. Here is your Friday high temperatures, and then we will finish with Saturday. Warmer in the south, mid-80s. Cooler off to the north, 60s